Discover the incredible transformation, how my daughter-in-law's visit became a heartwarming holiday miracle. Martha's heart raced as she stared out the kitchen window. Golden leaves fluttered like butterflies in the crisp November air, but her spirit felt heavy. Thanksgiving was just around the corner, and with it, her son Jake's plans to bring his wife, Maria, a high-powered executive from New York City. She remembered the way Maria rushed through life, all sleek suits and fast-paced city living. Would Martha's humble home even measure up? Anxiety snagged at her throat. Would Maria see through her simple exterior to the love that still throbbed beneath the surface? The scent of pumpkin spice filled the kitchen, stirring memories of laughter and warmth with her late husband. Back when her bakery held the heart of Maple Grove, with every pastry crafted from love. Now, all that remained were echoes of joy mixed with a cold, uninvited loneliness. Martha sighed, rolling out pie dough, each press of her rolling pin a reminder of what was lost. "Hey, Mom, Maria can't wait to meet you." Jake's voice chirped, full of enthusiasm as he entered the room, cutting through the silence. Martha forced a smile, but her heart sank further. "Fine, but don't get your hopes too high," she replied, trying to keep her voice steady. Jake didn't notice the tremor behind her words. He was too excited. As days slipped by like falling leaves, Martha's worries stacked high. What if her tea-stained china didn't mesh with Maria's elegant tastes? What if there were no conversations to share, just a gap too wide to cross? When Maria finally arrived, her polished demeanor and constant phone calls painted a stark contrast against Martha's quaint world. The chimes of Martha's wind chimes seemed to whisper of the divide between them. "Oh, these are cute," Maria said, barely containing a smirk as she looked around. The air grew thick with tension as they began preparing for the feast. Just then, a thunderous storm rolled in, forcing the power out and sending stress straight through the roof. The wind howled, rattling the windows like a restless child. "Let's head over to the community center." "We can help," Maria suggested suddenly. This was unexpected. Martha hesitated, but inspired by the urgency of the moment, she agreed. The community center buzzed with neighbors' concerned faces, people bundled against the cold and hungry amidst the chaos. Martha's heart swelled as she realized there was desperately needed work to do. Perhaps Maria's skills weren't just for boardrooms. "Let's organize a meal," Martha exclaimed, sparks of passion weaving through her words. Maria's eyes lit up for the first time, and together they threw themselves into their task. Mixing and chopping, gathering ingredients from brave locals who dared to leave their warm homes. The laughter of children and the grateful smiles of elderly neighbors began to melt the ice between them. They shared stories of family, propped side by side in their goals, while believing in the power of people coming together. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As they served the steaming plates, Martha was filled with warmth, watching as smiles erupted around the room. Maria, delighted by the gratitude flowing through the community, began to understand Martha's world. But just as voices grew louder sharing their thanks, there, like a looming cloud, faded unresolved tensions hung heavy in the air. The night held secrets, questions tethered together with fragile hope. Could their newfound bond survive the weight of their differences? After that unexpected surge of connection, the community center felt alive with energy. Martha looked around, her heart swelling with pride. Neighbors mingled, children darted about, and for the first time in a long while, laughter filled the room, drowning out the storm's howling winds outside. Maria worked effortlessly alongside Martha, their movements syncing. Chunky stockpots simmered over the gas stove, the rich aroma of roasted turkey mingling with cinnamon and freshly baked bread. Martha glanced over at Maria as she stirred, completely engaged in the task at hand. The high-powered executive seemed a world away from her usual frenetic life in the city. "Who knew you could cook like this?" Martha asked, her voice light and teasing. Maria chuckled, pausing for a second to meet Martha's gaze. "You'd be surprised what I can do when I'm not cooped up in an office." In that moment, the divide melted just a bit more. Martha felt a spark, something real, a connection growing where before only unease had existed. As the crowd devoured their meals, the conversations shifted too. Neighbors shared stories from their past, weaving tales of hardship and resilience. Maria listened intently, a hint of admiration on her face as the people spoke with fierce love for their community. "You know," she spoke up amidst the chatter, "I learned something today about how we all focus on big achievements. But sometimes it's the little things, like coming together in a storm." Martha's heart warmed, recognizing a crack in the facade Maria usually wore. "Exactly. It's about connection. That's why I love baking. Every pie I make is a piece of my heart." With those simple words, something shifted deeper within both of them. Suddenly, the lights flickered back on, casting a warm glow over the room. Applause erupted as everyone clapped, grateful for the return of all the comforts they had missed. Martha smiled, a tiny spark of triumph igniting within her. But as Maria glanced to the side, the smile faded. Her phone buzzed incessantly, flashing notifications. For a moment it was as if all the warmth and connection in the room had come crashing down. She picked up her phone against her better judgment, glancing at the screen, and a shadow passed her face. "What's wrong?" Martha sensed the shift immediately, concern threading through her heart. Maria shook her head slightly, trying her best to shake off the unease. "It's just work. I'll take care of it later," she replied hastily, yet the tension from her words hung heavily in the air. Martha's mind raced. Had they made progress only for Maria to retreat back into her fast-paced, demanding world that she brought with her? As the evening wore on, Martha couldn't help but cast glances at Maria, feeling the pulse of anxiety creeping back. Had they really connected, or was it just a moment in time that would vanish in the wake of routine? The night wound down, conversations fading as plates emptied and chairs scraped against the floor. People began to depart, their spirits lifted but carrying home the first whispers of hope. As the last neighbor waved goodbye, Martha turned to Maria, who was busy typing furiously on her phone, face lit up eerily in the dim kitchen light. "So what now?" she ventured cautiously, her heart pounding. Maria looked up, her eyes filled with a flicker of uncertainty. "I didn't mean to get lost in my phone. The way Maria said it drew another breath of tension in the air, as if they were teetering on the edge of something profound. Silence surrounded them, thick with unspoken words, heavy with possibilities. Could they turn the page on their relationship? Could this be the start of a true bond, or would the shadows of ambition and expectations cast another storm between them? Martha took a deep breath, ready to speak from her heart again, but then the loud ding of another notification seemed to echo through the quiet. They both turned toward the sound, and Maria's expression shifted completely. Whatever the message was, it broke the moment. Martha felt the distance grow once more, but this time it carried with it an urgency and unresolved question that loomed heavily. Would Maria choose the world she had created or the possibility of a real connection with her mother-in-law? As the door whispered shut behind her son and daughter-in-law, Martha's heart beat fiercely in her chest. The night may have brought warmth, but one thing was certain, the real challenge lay ahead. How would they navigate the path to genuine understanding? And when morning came, would that promise still flicker like a candle in the dark? Martha stood in the quiet aftermath of the bustling gathering, her heart racing as she processed what had just happened. The warmth of connection felt so fragile now, overshadowed by the weight of Maria's phone and the wariness hidden behind her eyes. A heavy silence rested between them, and Martha wrestled with her thoughts, wondering if she should take that leap of vulnerability they had almost shared. Would it push Maria away, or would it bring them closer? Just as she was about to speak, Maria broke the tension by tossing her phone down onto the counter, the screen lighting up with a new notification. I should probably go, Maria said, her voice tight and strained. This is all so unexpected. Unexpected good or unexpected bad? Martha pushed gently, desperate to keep the door just slightly ajar. It felt good, didn't it? Maria hesitated. Yeah, it did. But I saw you laughing, sharing stories, Martha interjected softly. We all came together tonight, like you said. That matters. It really does. I know. Maria searched the floor with her eyes, her fingers playing nervously with the hem of her blouse. But back in the city, my life is different. I can't just disconnect like that. But what if you could reconnect with what truly matters? Martha asked, leaning into the moment. Sometimes, the storm is what brings us together, isn't it? Maria's gaze flickered up, and for the first time, Martha saw a spark of something deeper, perhaps curiosity, or maybe even hope. It sounds nice, Martha. But I've built my life around expectations. Expectations to succeed, to always push forward. And what's wrong with slowing down for a moment? Martha offered, feeling a burgeoning strength. What if, just for a bit, you let yourself be part of something simpler? Maybe it can help you find what you really want. The tension in the air shifted, just the tiniest bit. Martha felt a flicker of triumph at having opened that door, but it again threatened to close. Maria glanced again at her phone, anxiety flickering in her eyes, as if the glow pulled her back to a life that seemed both alluring and suffocating. Martha, she said, her voice softer now. There's so much at stake for me. My job, my life in the city, everything. I can't just walk away from that. I know it's scary, Martha replied. But you're not walking away. You're finding a balance. Isn't that worth fighting for? Maria looked torn, a battlefield of emotions playing out across her face. I want it to be worth it, but yes. Martha coaxed gently, sensing the fragile lines of Maria's resolve wavering under the weight of their conversation. Maria drew a deep breath. I want to find that connection, but can I really hold both worlds? Can you help me find that balance? Martha's heart soared, the potential within that question swirling like a warm breeze. We can try. Together, she said, her resolve hardening. Let us figure this out. You may be surprised at what you find when you face your fears head-on. The two women exchanged knowing looks, the lingering tension slowly transforming into something that felt like possibility. Suddenly, the world outside erupted with the furious howl of wind and rain. It was as if the storm outside wanted to break through the fragile bubble they had created. Martha felt another surge of urgency. How about we plan something? A day together? Just you and me? Maria tilted her head. You think it'll help? Let us find out, Martha said with a tentative smile, a newly born hope shining between them. As the storm grew louder, Martha felt stronger. They had a choice now, an opportunity to reshape their path. But as the winds wailed, something else filled the air, the realization that no matter how they turned, storms would always come, and in that moment, as lightning illuminated the dark sky outside, both women took a step towards uncharted territory. Could they weather the storms together, or would the winds of their separate lives blow them apart? The answer lay just ahead, waiting for them to take the next bold step. Would they find the courage to reach out and hold on to the connection that flickered like a candle's flame in the dark? Martha's heart raced as she watched Maria's internal struggle. The storm outside roared louder, shaking the windows and sending a chill through her spine. Yet, the warmth that began to grow between them was impossible to ignore. Suddenly, this moment wasn't just about connection, it felt like a shared destiny. Let us set a concrete date. Martha said, her excitement bubbling over. I promise, I'll plan something that helps you see the beauty in slowing down. Maria looked apprehensive but intrigued. What if I can't? What if the city pulls me back too quickly? Then we'll find a way to keep you grounded here, too, Martha replied, her voice steady and warm. You'd be surprised how much lighter life can feel when you're part of a community, even if it's just for a little while. Maria smiled faintly, the conflict in her eyes still evident, but there was a hint of relief there too. Okay, one day. What do you have in mind? Enthusiasm surged within Martha. How about a hike through the woods? Just the two of us. I'll even bring a picnic. It can be our refuge from the storm. She felt bold, as if she were reshaping the narrative they seemed destined to write. Maria chuckled softly, her tension easing, if only slightly. You know I prefer skyscrapers to trees. Well, this time, let us try branches over buildings. You might find it cleansing. Nature has a way of making everything feel simpler. With the rain still pounding against the window, Martha stepped closer, driven by the urge to steady Maria on this precipice of uncertainty. Have you forgotten what it's like to breathe fresh air? Maria finally nodded, the corners of her mouth lifting in a genuine smile now. Okay, you've convinced me. I'll go with you. The storm howled again, but their laughter broke through the noise, weaving a thread of camaraderie. It felt like a promise, one that whispered of transformation and discovery. Martha could almost see the shadows on Maria's face lifting, replaced by something brighter, a hint of adventure sparked in her eyes. Let me help you remember what being alive feels like, not just surviving, Martha said softly, but just as Maria was about to respond, her phone buzzed violently on the counter, pulling her attention. She glanced at the screen, and the smile faded. I need to check this, Maria said, her voice shifting back to a tight, almost reserved tone. Before Martha could protest, Maria picked up the phone, her fingers trembling as she read. Martha's heart sank. The weight of Maria's life loomed back over them like a storm cloud, stealing away the connection they had just forged. She watched Maria's expression harden, and once again, the distance felt insurmountable. I have to deal with this, Maria said finally, her voice barely above a whisper. I can't just switch it off. Martha felt like the air had been knocked out of her. Of course, I understand. It hurt to see that flame of joy extinguished. But promise me that you'll think about what I said. This isn't just a fleeting conversation. It could be the turning point. Maria paused, her expression conflicted. I promise, she managed, though her hesitance lingered. As Maria turned away, the weight of uncertainty hung heavily. Martha knew she could only wait and hope. Would Maria follow through? Just then, a powerful gust of wind shook the house, rattling the windows. It felt like a warning, a reminder that the storms outside reflected those within. Feeling the temperature drop, Martha whispered to herself. I just hope she finds the strength to walk back to me. And as the night deepened, she pondered what would come next. Would Maria hold true to their new beginning? Or would the pull of her city life create a rift too vast to bridge again? Martha sat in the dim light of her cozy living room, the howling wind and pounding rain creating a symphony outside. She watched the shadows dance around her, a sharp reminder of how quickly the warmth between her and Maria had vanished. Each tick of the clock felt like an eternity, a countdown to uncertainty. As she listened to the raindrops, she remembered Maria's smile from moments before, the way it had flickered like a candle fighting against the wind. It was a brief spark in the midst of their brewing storm, but now that glimmer felt far away. Just breathe, Martha muttered to herself, trying to coax the tension from her shoulders. She picked up a half-read book from the coffee table, determined to distract herself. Page after page blurred into thoughts of Maria, her laughter, her hesitance, that fleeting connection that felt so precious. Then, the ringtone of Maria's phone echoed through the air like an unwelcome visitor. Martha eyed the device, the screen still illuminated with messages, an uninvited reminder of the chaos outside. Each vibration seemed to tangle with her heartbeat, pulling at the thread of hope she clung to. What was it that required Maria's attention so urgently? Was it work? Family? A life that seemed unyielding, drawing Maria away from the solace they talked about? After what felt like lifetimes, Maria's voice broke through Martha's brooding silence. I'm sorry, I can't. The words were strained, thin, but still managing to break the dam of silence that had grown dense between them. Martha looked up to see Maria standing by the window, her silhouette painted against the raging storm outside. There was something vulnerable in her stance. "I just feel like everything is pulling at me," she continued, not turning to face Martha. Understanding flickered in Martha's chest. "You don't have to do it alone, you know." Maria turned then, her eyes filled with the weight of so many burdens. "It's not that simple. The city needs me. My family needs me. Or maybe it just feels like they do," Martha suggested gently, her heart aching for the flickering hope she could see in Maria's eyes, the same flicker she had felt herself just moments earlier. "What if you could find a way to be there for them without losing yourself in the process?" Maria took a shaky breath. "What if I fail? What if I can't balance it all?" "Maybe you won't know until you try. It's okay to ask for help." The sincerity of Martha's words hung between them, heavy yet hopeful. The storm outside continued to rage, an echo of the turmoil inside Maria's heart. Martha stepped closer. "You're allowed to have your own voice, your own desires. Don't let the noise drown you out. That's what I want to help you remember." Maria's eyes glimmered with unshed tears, the fight fading a bit. For a fleeting moment, she looked almost free. "And what if I never get the chance?" Martha reached for her hand, creating a connection that pulsed softly. "Then let us make today count. Let us take one step forward." Maria nodded, almost imperceptibly. But just as the flicker of hope ignited between them again, a loud crash of thunder reverberated through the house, shaking the walls. Maria flinched, her breath catching in her throat. "I can't stay away from the storm," Maria said, her voice breaking slightly. "I'm going to have to face it." Martha squeezed her hand gently, her heart racing. "Together, remember. You don't have to face it alone. We'll navigate it together." As they stood there, hand in hand, an uncertain bond flickering between hope and doubt, Martha sensed the shift in Maria. A new beginning was within reach if only they could weather the storm, but what would happen when the sun finally broke through? Would they find clarity, or would the shadows only deepen? That thought loomed in the air, echoing louder than the thunder outside. With the storm still raging outside, the room felt alive with tension, the weight of unspoken fears hanging heavy in the air. Martha glanced at Maria, her eyes searching for the resolve she so desperately wanted to find. "We can start small," Martha whispered, her voice barely cutting through the sound of the tempest. "What do you need right now?" Maria's shoulders appeared to slump deeper under an unseen burden. "I don't know, I guess I need to feel that it's okay to want something for myself. To want to be happy." Martha nodded, embodying a buoyancy she hoped would lift Maria's spirit. "Then let us focus on that. What makes you happy, Maria?" "Just a simple thing." Maria hesitated, a myriad of thoughts flickering behind her dark eyes like shadows in the storm. "Sunshine, maybe. Or sitting here with you, just talking. And we can create that moment," Martha encouraged, a grin breaking through her own worry. "How about we plan a getaway? Somewhere warm, where the sun will chase this storm away for a while." A spark ignited in Maria's gaze. "A vacation?" "Yes. A little escape." Martha loved the way a hint of excitement broke through Maria's fog. It felt like fresh air after being underwater for too long. Maria chuckled, a sound Martha wanted to bottle and cherish. "But what about everything back home? What if I just can't?" "You won't know until you try. And isn't the thought of sunshine on your skin worth taking the leap?" There it was, the familiar warmth of hope returning between them like the golden rays after a storm. Maria turned away and looked through the water-streaked window, where the sky flashed with electric light. "I miss that feeling," she said softly. "I wish I could just pack up and run away. Then let us make a plan, right here, right now." Martha shuffled to the coffee table and grabbed a piece of paper and a pen. "What do you want to see? What would make you feel alive again?" Maria joined her, the corners of her mouth turning up slightly. I've always wanted to go to the beach at sunset. Just sitting there, laying on the sand, maybe with a drink in my hand. Yes. I love that. We could make it sunset every single night. Martha's enthusiasm carved a pathway through the tension, lifting each word with the lightness of possibility. And I want to swim in the ocean. There's something freeing about the water. Maria's voice trailed off, but the light in her eyes illuminated a path forward. Yes, Martha said, guiding their thoughts. Let us embrace that feeling of freedom. Picture the waves crashing, the sun warming your face. And you can do this, Maria. Maria drew in a deep breath, her chest rising with newfound hope. And you really want to go with me? Absolutely. This isn't just your dream, it's ours. We face storms together, and we celebrate the sunny days together. They folded the paper, a makeshift contract sealing their plans, even if they seemed distant now. Suddenly, a sharp crack of thunder rang out, louder than before. But instead of fear, laughter bubbled up between them, a shared moment of relief as the power of the storm seemed to have less hold on them. Oh, that sounded ominous. Maria grinned, her laugh infectious. Just the sky telling us it's time for a change. Martha let out a small laugh of her own. And I think we are ready for that change, don't you? More than ready, Maria said, her voice gaining strength. As the storm's fury continued to rage outside, a new light began to emerge inside the warmth of their shared space. But beyond their laughter, the shadows of uncertainty still swirled, whispering different fears. What challenges awaited them when they stepped out into the world again? Would they carry this newfound resolve, or would the tide of reality pull them back into the depths of doubt? In that moment of anticipation, a knock echoed through the room, sharp and unexpected. It sliced through their laughter, sending a shiver of intrigue between them. Who could that be? Martha asked, her heart racing. Dunno, Maria replied, her smile faltering slightly as nerves crept in. Should we answer it? Martha exchanged a quick look with Maria, the uncertain bond between them reigniting just as the storm rumbled beyond the window. Would this knock bring the clarity they sought or bring something more complicated to the surface? Martha's heart pounded against her chest, the storm outside no match for the whirlwind of emotions brewing within her. Maria glanced toward the door, then back to Martha, her brow furrowing. Should we? Maria whispered, her voice small, as if the mere act of asking could stir something ominous. Let us find out, Martha replied, her courage shaking off the weight of doubt. She made her way to the door, each creak of the floorboards matching the crackling energy in the room. As she turned the knob, her mind raced. It could be anyone, a neighbor, a delivery driver, or perhaps someone from the past, unearthing feelings they had just begun to bury. She opened the door slowly, half expecting an onslaught of rain and thunder to follow. Instead, a figure stood in the doorway, drenched but smiling, a surprisingly bright spirit cutting through the darkness. It was Claire, Martha's sister, whom they hadn't seen in years. She looked as if she had stepped right out of a summer dream, despite the soggy reality that surrounded her. Martha! Claire exclaimed, stepping forward, shaking off droplets like confetti. I didn't think I'd make it through the storm. Claire! Martha gasped, shock quickly giving way to joy. She pulled her sister into a tight embrace, both of them laughing. Maria stood behind Martha, blinking in astonishment. What are you doing here? Martha asked, her heart swelling. I thought you were overseas. I changed my plans. I needed to see you. Claire's smile faded momentarily, replaced by a glimmer of concern. I heard the storm was fierce, and I couldn't stop thinking about you too. Martha stepped aside, letting Claire enter, where the warmth of the room felt inviting compared to the relentless wind howling outside. Maria found her voice. Hi, Claire. This is a surprise. Hey there. I know it's a lot, but I really wanted to see both of you, Claire said, scanning the room. And it looks like you two were having quite the talk. Martha introduced Claire to the makeshift vacation plans they had drawn up, her heart heavy with excitement. We were just talking about wanting to escape and find some sunshine. Claire's eyes lit up. Sunshine. That sounds perfect. I could use a bit of adventure myself. While they settled into their shared energy, the storm outside began to lose its intensity. The wind softened, creating a gentle rhythm. Yet, beneath their laughter, Martha sensed an electric undercurrent. Claire seemed different, quieter, perhaps carrying her own burdens just like Maria. Are you okay? Martha finally asked, concern edging into the conversation. Claire hesitated, her smile wavering as she looked between the two women she loved most. There is something I need to tell you both. It's hard to explain, but... The weight of her words lingered in the air like a storm cloud threatening rain. Maria leaned forward, curiosity etched on her face, while Martha felt the familiar knot of anxiety tightening in her stomach. This sounds serious, Maria said softly. Yes, it is. Claire took a deep breath, her usual vibrancy dimming for a moment. There's a reason I'm here, something I've been struggling with on my own. Martha's heart dropped at the shift in her sister's demeanor. What is it? She gently pressed, but before Claire could respond, the door creaked back, the gusts of wind reopening the space that had just been safe. The room chilled as someone else stepped into their world, a stranger with an air of urgency that ignited a new wave of tension. Excuse me, the figure said, voice low but steady. I need to speak to Martha. It's urgent. Martha's breath caught, the weight of the moment crashing over her. Who was this mysterious person? What did they know that could disrupt what little peace they had started to build? As Claire's eyes locked onto Martha, they both shared a silent question: what was about to happen next? Martha felt the floor drop beneath her as the stranger stepped forward, blocking the doorway. The figure was a man, tall and imposing, with dark hair slicked back and eyes that had seen too much for someone so young. Who are you? Martha managed, her voice trembling slightly as she instinctively took a step back. I'm sorry for barging in like this, he said, hands raised slightly in a gesture of peace. My name is Daniel. I know it's sudden, but I really need to talk to you about something important. Claire shot a glance at Martha, her earlier cheerful demeanor suddenly overshadowed by concern. A frigid silence hung in the room, the laughter from moments before evaporating like mist in the sun. What do you want? Martha finally asked, her heart racing in a cacophony of fears. Daniel took a breath, his brows furrowing as he opened his mouth to speak. I know this sounds crazy. I swear I'm not here to cause trouble. I need to tell you about your father. Martha's breath hitched in her throat. My father? It felt like the bottom had dropped out of her world. She hadn't spoken to her father in years, not since that fateful night when he vanished from their lives. What do you mean? Claire moved to Martha's side, eyes wide, drawing strength from her sister's presence. What do you know about him? She asked in a calm but firm voice. I didn't know him personally, but I have information, Daniel continued, his voice steady despite the rising tension. I work for a private investigator. Your father, he is alive. Silence swallowed the room. Martha's head spun, echoes of memories flashing through her mind: hurt, confusion, longing. That can't be true, she whispered. If he was alive, he would have come back. He chose to leave. I know it's painful to hear, Daniel said gently, but I have evidence. He has been living a different life, and I have the details to prove it. The revelation hung thick in the air as disbelief churned within Martha. A lifetime spent wondering, missing, and yearning for closure, only to hear this bombshell now. Why now? She found herself asking. Because he is in trouble, Daniel replied. He needs help, and he wanted to reach out, but he didn't know how. That's where I come in. Claire exchanged nervous glances with Martha, who felt torn between hope and anger. This sounds insane, Martha said, taking a step away from the door, her mind racing 1,000 miles per hour. Why should I believe you? Because he has been watching over you, Daniel said, his voice becoming more urgent. He sent me. Martha's heart raced. The mere suggestion that her father had been watching all along twisted her emotional turmoil into a bottomless whirlpool of doubts and fears. Are you sure it's him? She asked, a spark of hope igniting within her. Yes, he insisted, eyes locking onto hers. But you have to understand, it's complicated. He can't just come back. There are reasons. This is a lot to process, Claire added quietly, her hand resting on Martha's arm. And I need to know if you're willing to take the leap, Daniel said, his voice steady as if it were the most important question in the world. Are you brave enough to find out the truth? Tears stung Martha's eyes as the weight of the moment flooded through her. Could she face the possibility of seeing her father again? Could she handle the reasons for his choices? She looked at Claire and Maria, who both held her gaze, offering silent support. Give me the details, Martha said, her resolve building. I need to know. As Daniel opened his mouth to speak, the silence was shattered by a loud crash of thunder outside. It felt like the storm had returned just for them, the winds howling with a fury that mirrored the chaos within her heart. But standing firm, Martha felt monstrous uncertainty transform into a flicker of hope. The path ahead was murky, but if there was a chance to mend bridges that had long been broken, she had to chase it. With her heart pounding, Martha braced herself for the fallout of what was to come. Would she finally confront her past? And just as she steadied her breath, an ominous knock echoed through the door again, sending a chill running down her spine. Martha's heart raced, adrenaline surging through her veins as the knock reverberated like a warning bell. Claire looked at her, wide-eyed and anxious, a silent question hanging between them. Was this storm the literal one outside or the emotional one brewing in the room going to break them, or could it be the catalyst for something new? Who is it? She whispered, barely able to find her voice. I don't know. Just stay behind me, Claire said, instinctively stepping in front of Martha, a protective gesture born of sisterly instinct. The knocking came again, louder this time, slicing through the suffocating tension. Daniel's brows creased with concern. He quickly assessed the situation, too. There was urgency in his movements, a sense that they were running out of time. It could be someone else looking for him, Daniel said, glancing at the door before turning back to Martha. But if what I know is true, we can't let anyone else in. What are you talking about? Martha demanded, her voice trembling but firm. What do you know about my father? Daniel took a step closer, lowering his voice to a whisper, as if the walls could hold their secrets. I'm not sure how much time we have. Your father is in a dangerous place. He felt it was best for everyone to stay away for his safety, for yours, too. Wait, Martha's mind was racing. Her father had always been a protector, retreating into shadows rather than standing in the light. What kind of trouble is he in? And why hasn't he reached out himself? Daniel hesitated, then stepped towards the window, peering outside as the rain fell heavily. He's involved with some people who let us just say they don't play by the rules. He didn't want you to be caught up in it, so he went dark. But he has reasons, and he needs your help now. The enormity of Daniel's words crashed over her like the storm battering the house. The bleak reality was sinking in, mingling with the hope that had sparked at the mention of her father being alive. Martha clenched her fists, trying to piece together how such a duality could exist. Alive or not, why should I care? He's been gone for all this time. For years, I've wanted answers, closure and trust. Daniel's eyes softened. Because he loves you. And he has always kept an eye on you, even from afar. His choices were complicated, but he never stopped thinking about you, Martha. Tears welled up in Martha's eyes. Part of her wanted to believe. But a deeper part still clung to the anger of betrayal, of being abandoned. Just as she began to speak, the ominous knock returned, harsher, more insistent than before. Whatever happens next, brace yourself, Daniel warned, stepping closer to the door, urgency filling his voice. If it's the people after him, he needs you to know that you have to stay strong. What do you mean? Martha felt a fresh wave of fear wash over her. Before Daniel could respond, he yanked the door open, and the sight that met their eyes sent a jolt of fear through Martha. A figure stood in the doorway, cloaked by the swirling shadows of the storm, the outline of their face barely visible. "Martha," the figure spoke, voice low and familiar, sending chills coursing down her spine. "Mom?" she whispered, disbelief mingling with hope and fear. Was it really her? Or was the storm playing tricks on her mind? "Is it really you?" Claire nearly gasped, stepping back as recognition dawned upon her face. As emotions swirled, Martha felt a flicker of recognition and warmth in the storm. The weight of the past loomed over her, alive with unanswered questions. What did her mother want? Was this the connection to her father she had longed for? The moment laid heavy, a perfect storm of reckoning hovering at the threshold. "Martha," her mother said, stepping into the light, drenched but all too familiar. Her face was aged but undeniably her own, and every memory flooded back like a forgotten lullaby. "I've come so far to find you. What are you doing here?" Martha's voice shook with a mix of disbelief and anger. A whirlwind of emotion spooled tight in her chest. She barely managed to stand, faced with the woman who had left her behind. Claire stepped forward, taking her mother's hand in solidarity. "We need to talk," she said firmly, supporting Martha even more. "I didn't know how to find you," her mother continued, her voice steady despite the storm raging outside. "I thought it was safer to stay away." "Safer for who?" Martha shot back, feelings of abandonment racing through her. "You chose to disappear. How could you do that to me?" "I had my reasons," her mother started, tears brimming in her eyes. "Your father, I thought it was best for you. There are things you don't know, things I couldn't explain until now." With each moment, the darkness outside seemed to lighten, but the tension within grew stronger. "Like what?" Martha practically demanded, the walls of her guarded heart finally trembling. "What has he done?" "Your father was involved in something dangerous. I thought I could protect you from him," her mother admitted, swallowing hard as she took a step closer. "But it backfired. He's been trying to keep an eye on you, but it hasn't been easy." Martha clenched her fists, searching for clarity. "So you left? You abandoned me for my own safety? That's absurd." "Please, just listen," Claire urged, squeezing Martha's arm gently, reminding her to breathe through this storm within. "We can figure this out together." Her mother nodded, fresh determination igniting a spark inside Martha. "We need to work together. There are people who want to hurt him, and by extension, you. But if we join forces, we can help him. We can find him." As a wave of hope surged in their small room, memories flickered in Martha's mind of the long-lost days of childhood, laughter, and warmth from a family long fragmented. "I thought I was all alone," Martha whispered, tears beginning to spill down her cheeks. The weight of years melted slightly, revealing a buried need for connection. Suddenly, Daniel stepped forward. "We don't have much time. Martha, I can help you find him, we can figure this out, I promise. But we need all of you on board." Martha looked around the room, searching each familiar face. Claire, her sister, always there through thick and thin. Her mother, the ghost of her past, suddenly present. What would it take? Without thinking, Martha found her voice. "What do you want us to do?" Daniel smiled, urgency sparking in his eyes. "We need to contact the right people and collect information. Your father can't do this alone, he's trapped. But with us, we can make this happen." "Then let us do it," Martha declared, determination flooding through her. "If there's a chance to embrace the truth, to face this storm together, I want to fight for it." They all nodded in unison, a bond renewed in the face of uncertainty. As they came together in that living room, the storm outside began to dissipate, revealing clearer skies. The world felt larger, filled with promise, their connection now unbreakable. "We've got this," Claire said, holding Martha's gaze tightly. "No more running. Together is how we face storms." Martha reached out for her family, then turned to Daniel. "Do what you need to do. Let us bring my father back home." As they began making plans, laughter filled the room again, threading light through the shadows of the past. Underneath their courage, the winds of change were beginning to shift. The storm now lay behind them. "Together," Martha said, knowing this was a true beginning. Together. With newfound hope, they stepped forward into the unknown, ready to confront every fear and hold fast to the ties of family. This was the moment of transformation, the bridge back to who they truly were, a new chapter waiting to be written as they faced every storm together. Now, don't wait not even one more second. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Your support matters, it truly does. Comment your reactions and feelings about this emotional ending. And share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. You need to support the channel, and every action helps us grow.